Welcome once again to growing gourmet mushrooms in my workshop. We've seen Home Assistant and how it can help to automate, control all of your environmentals in your fruiting room. We're going to look now at historical data. And this is a very simple plugin to Home Assistant where you tell it to log all this data, especially this stuff here, to a database. And this case, I'm recording it to a database called InfluxDB, but there are all kinds of different databases that Home Assistant will interface with. Turning it on is very, very simple. It's just a little configuration item within Home Assistant. And suddenly all of your data is going to a database for you, and it will just keep storing it and storing it for years if you want. And then on top of that, in order to see that data in the database, we have a little package called Grafana. And that runs on that computer, that little mini computer that I had showed you earlier. And this is the type of information that it will display to you. So here we can see CO2 levels. And fan, right now, let's have a look at this now. CO2 levels is the green line. So you can see it slowly climbing up as the mushrooms are pushing out CO2. We have a CO2 target level, which is at 800. And a fan, whenever the fan comes on or off, it's going to give you a little bump here. So you can see the fan's been on and off quite a bit through here, and this is where I was just showing you on Home Assistant, turning the fan on and off like this. We'll create an entry in Grafana. So this is during the demo, we can see the fan coming on, turning off, turning on, turning off. This is a legitimate one where it actually hit 800 parts per million earlier, and you can see it started at 1142. Sorry, I'll put that at the very beginning here if I can get it, 1140, and it took until 1151. So that's 11 minutes essentially to take the CO2 from 800 parts per million down to 429. So this is the type of data that you can get. Now, conversely, the humidity level, we have the humidity within the tent, and then the outdoor humidity. And you can see that's coming from our weather sensor that we have over in Home Assistant, which is kind of these guys down here. And you can kind of see on a very, very damp day that we don't really need to have the humidifiers turn on because the air that's coming in is already humidified. So we don't see the humidifiers turning on and on. I'm going to show you some historical data where the actual humidifiers did come on. You'll see more data here. I'll get to in a sec. Again, temperature. Inside the temperature, inside the tent, we have a green line. And the outside temperature is this more square line. That's the weather forecast stations update the data. And the fans that come on and off. And you can see, because of the heat exchanger that I have installed there, that the temperature level is very, very flat, even though it's pulling in warmer air. I don't want that air warming up the tent, and the heat exchanger will cool it off as it comes in. And you won't, even though this fan has been on for quite a while here, 11 minutes, there wasn't very much change in the temperature of the tent. Now, this is just showing you the last 6 hours. I can go back very easily to 24 hours and see more data very, very quickly. And an interesting thing here is that I have an air conditioner going on within the workshop, not within the tent. But you can see where the air conditioner has been turning on and off, and it actually has been pulling air in and out of that tent as it pushes the hot air out of the room. So that's why you see these things bumping up and down. It's very interesting to analyze some of these graphs and say, well, why is it doing this? Why is it doing that? Sometimes it has you scratching your head for a while until a little light bulb comes on and you can see, oh, wow, no, yeah, that does make sense. We can go back, say 7 days and see some historical data. Now you're going to see, because we're past days where it was very, very humid outside, you can see the humidifier and booster coming on, and they're in our humidity section. So this is where the purple one is my booster and the blue one is the actual custom humidifier in the cooler that I showed you earlier. If you want to zoom in on any one of these areas, let's take a kind of a busy section here. You can just drag your cursor, missed that, drag it over there and it'll zoom into that one section. And you can see we're hitting 800 parts per million, and it's going up and down here. And correspondingly, as the humidity needed to be bumped up to 92%, the humidifiers have come on a little bit here, a little bit there to keep it going. And the booster is in there somewhere. It gets a little bit hard to tell. Oh, there's the booster there. It just came on once. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to tell the humidifier booster from the humidifier, but I don't worry about that too much. And again, you can see the temperature fluctuating outside, but it's staying relatively constant within the tent because of that heat exchanger. You can go in to custom ranges. Let's go back to 2020, and let's see into July 1st, and go for a week from last year. Let's go to the 6th. Apply time range, and boom. You can see what happened last year. I had the automation turned off here and was in the tent doing some work, obviously, because it had climbed almost to 2K in that section there. And again, you can zoom into any one of these areas and see there's quite a bit of activity going on with the mushrooms back then. You can see the zigzag saw cut, typical CO2 extraction going on during this time. And I didn't have a humidifier booster then, but you can see the humidifier turning on and off to try to keep that up to just above 90% was the level back then, obviously. So that is Grafana and InfluxDB that is plugged into Home Assistant, and very, very simple to turn on, and very, very useful information, especially this historical data. You can go back and see what happened last week, or why are my mushrooms not pinning because the temperature is too high or whatever. Very useful stuff, very easy to turn on, and very geeky. That's all I'll do with this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.